The ambush. The sun hung low over the frontier settlement of Koran, its orange light spilling across the dusty streets, the villagers moving about in quiet routines, unaware of the danger creeping closer. A human mechanic named Jaren wiped sweat from his brow as he repaired a hover truck, his hands black with grease. A faint smile crossing his face at the thought of finally resting after weeks of hard work. But suddenly a strange hum echoed across the settlement. A sound that did not belong to engines or wind. Jaren's eyes narrowed as he turned toward the horizon. Shadows flickered between the buildings, fast and deliberate. The air felt heavier, almost electric, and a scream shattered the calm chaos erupted as alien raiders burst through the main gate. Their armored forms glinting under the dying sun. They moved with terrifying speed, firing energy bolts that scorched walls and ignited small fires. Villagers screamed, scattering in every direction, trying to find cover. Jaren's heart pounded in his chest as he ducked behind the hover truck, watching in horror as a small child became trapped under falling debris. Her cries pierced the chaos, innocent and desperate, and Jaren felt a surge of determination that drowned out fear. Without thinking, he leapt over the hood of the truck, running through the burning street, dodging the raiders' weapons, his hands reaching for the child. Time slowed as he grabbed her tiny frame, lifting the heavy debris off her legs with all his strength. The child looked up at him with wide, terrified eyes, her tiny hands clinging to his arm. "It's okay, I've got you," he whispered. Though the words felt weak against the roar of destruction around them, the alien raiders turned, noticing the human who dared to interfere. Their eyes glowed with cold, cruel intelligence, and one of them advanced with a weapon raised. Jaren tightened his grip on the child, pulling her toward the shadows of a ruined building. Every step was agony, his muscles screaming. His breath ragged, yet he could not stop. He could not let her fall, not now, not ever. Suddenly, a strange presence loomed above him, watching silently from the edge of the battle. A figure shrouded in a shimmering cloak observed his every move. The alien mother of the child, though her intentions were unclear, her face hidden beneath an intricate mask. Jaren did not notice her yet, his focus solely on survival. The child clung to him, trembling, but something in her eyes suggested trust, a fragile trust that he must protect at all costs. The raider lunged and Jaren barely sidestepped, a blast hitting the ground where he had been moments before. Sparks flew, dust rising around them like smoke from a funeral pyre. He could feel his strength waning, the weight of the child and the fear pressing down on him. Yet he pushed forward, determined, fueled by something more than courage, instinct, humanity and love for the innocent. He finally reached a narrow alley, the child safe for a moment hiding behind overturned crates, but he knew the aliens would not give up. The hum of their engines and the sharp clicks of their weapons grew closer. Each step he took was calculated, precise, yet each step could be his last. The child's small hand found his, gripping tightly, and he realized the bond between them had already formed, stronger than words, stronger than fear. Then, from the shadows, a strange sound echoed. Soft but deliberate, Jaren froze, scanning the alley. The figure he had sensed before moved closer, stepping into the dim light, and for the first time he saw her eyes, glowing faintly under the mask, intelligent, calculating, and terrifying. She spoke in a language he did not understand, yet somehow the meaning was clear. She was watching, judging, waiting for him to prove his worth. Jaren clenched his teeth, determination burning brighter than ever. He could not fail, not this child, not now. The aliens would have to fight him to get to her, and he would endure whatever it took. Every bruise, every cut, every pain would be meaningless if the child survived. And somewhere deep in the shadows, the alien mother smiled, or at least her eyes suggested it, as if she had found something she had been looking for. The sounds of the raiders' pursuit grew fainter for a moment. A brief respite, but Jaren knew this was only the beginning. The settlement lay in ruins, the sky streaked with fire, and he held the child tightly, ready to face whatever came next. He did not know what awaited him, what trials were coming, or what the alien mother truly wanted, but one thing was certain. He would protect this child, even if it meant enduring the pain of 1,000 battles. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the destroyed settlement, Jaren took a deep breath, steeling himself for the journey ahead. The story of courage, sacrifice, and the bond between human and alien had only just begun. The price of courage. Jaren awoke to a strange calm, the bright orange of Quran's fires replaced by soft glowing lights of an alien chamber. His body ached from bruises and cuts, but the pain was dull compared to the pounding of his heart. The child lay beside him, her breathing slow and even, her small hand still holding his, but she was safe for now. The walls shimmered with a strange energy, colors shifting as if alive. Jaren pushed himself up, groaning, and realized they were not alone. The alien mother stood at the far end of the room, her form tall, elegant, cloaked in the same shimmering material he had seen before. Her glowing eyes studied him, unblinking, and for a moment, Jaren felt exposed, vulnerable yet strangely drawn to her presence. "You saved her," she said, her voice melodic but firm, though he did not understand the words. The tone carried meaning, respect and a challenge. Jaren swallowed hard. Unsure how to respond, he simply nodded, feeling the weight of everything he had endured. The alien mother moved closer, gesturing toward a device he had never seen, its panels glowing with intricate symbols. Test, he thought, understanding immediately. She wanted to see if his courage was real, if his humanity could survive in this alien world. The device projected holograms around them, images of dangers he had never faced, creatures with multiple limbs and sharp teeth, fires that burned without smoke, walls of energy blocking his path, all designed to push him beyond fear, beyond reason. Jaren's first instinct was to shield the child, but the holograms changed instantly, showing scenarios where saving her would risk his own life. Each test forced him to make choices that seemed impossible, to balance bravery with wisdom, compassion with pragmatism, and with each decision, he could feel the alien mother's gaze, weighing, measuring, determining if he was worthy. Hours passed like minutes, his body trembling, his mind racing, yet Jaren refused to falter, refusing to show weakness. Even when exhaustion threatened to overtake him, the child's small hand remained in his, a reminder of why he endured. Every ache in his muscles, every pang of fear, became a testament to his resolve. Then the alien mother spoke again, this time pointing to a doorway that opened into darkness. The next trial would not test his strength or speed, but his heart, his willingness to risk everything without knowing the outcome. Jaren hesitated, fear clawing at him, but he knew there was no choice. He stepped forward, the child cradled in his arms, and into the darkness they went. The path twisted and turned, filled with traps that seemed impossible to avoid. Alien creatures emerged, not attacking outright but forcing him to think, to plan, to act with precision. He learned quickly that brute force alone would not succeed, that humanity's greatest weapon was ingenuity. Compassion and courage combined. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through his side, a trap designed to punish hesitation. Jaren gritted his teeth, refusing to cry out. He had already made a silent promise. He would endure any pain to protect the child, and in that moment he understood something deeper, something the alien mother must have known all along. Humanity could survive, even thrive, in ways the galaxy could never anticipate. Finally, they emerged from the darkness into a chamber bathed in soft white light. The child smiled weakly, her trust unwavering, and Jaren realized the trial was not just about strength, but about love, sacrifice, and unbreakable resolve. The alien mother stepped forward, her eyes glowing brighter, as if acknowledging his success, but her expression remained unreadable, hinting at mysteries still unsolved. "You have courage," he imagined her voice saying, "but the price of your choices is only beginning." Jaren knew she spoke truth. He had proven himself in action, but he had no idea what would be demanded next, what challenges awaited him, and what sacrifices he would be forced to make. Outside, the galaxy continued its endless rhythm, unaware that a human had already begun to leave a mark that could change the fate of a child, a civilization, perhaps even worlds beyond. And as he held the child close, Jaren understood that courage was never simple, that heroism always carried a price, and that the alien mother's gaze would follow him forever. The chamber door closed behind them, leaving him in quiet anticipation, and the story of endurance, trials, and humanity's unyielding spirit was far from over. Trials of humanity. Jaren stepped into the next chamber, the walls alive with shifting lights that reflected in his weary eyes. The child clutched his arm tightly, trusting him completely, and he felt a surge of protectiveness that made his exhaustion fade. For a moment the world seemed still, but the silence was deceptive, a prelude to new dangers. Suddenly, the ground beneath him shifted, panels sliding open to reveal alien creatures chained within cages. Their eyes glowed with intelligence, not mindless aggression. They hissed and growled, testing him. As if aware that he would soon face a choice, Jaren froze, then realized the test was not just about fighting, but about understanding, empathy, and strategy. The first challenge came swiftly, a swarm of small, quick predators leaping from the shadows. Jaren had only seconds to react. Using his mechanical instincts, he grabbed nearby tools, improvising weapons and traps, but instead of killing them outright, he created barriers and diversions, guiding them away from the child. He felt a strange satisfaction. His humanity, ingenuity, and quick thinking worked together to solve the problem, the alien mother observed silently, her eyes narrowing, assessing every move. The next trial demanded mental strength, a puzzle of alien design. Doors and pathways shifted as he solved one problem after another. The child followed, mimicking his calm resolve. Though she was terrified, Jaren whispered encouragements. "Stay close. Trust me." And each word strengthened the bond between them. Hours passed like minutes, and then came the final test. A deep pit opened in front of him, filled with swirling energy that threatened to pull him in. At the center, a hologram of the child's mother appeared. Her expression unreadable, Jaren understood the choice he must make: risk his own life or leave the child behind. He took a deep breath, feeling the ache in his body, the sting of old wounds, and he stepped forward, carrying the child across the pit. Every muscle burned, every step was agony. But he refused to falter. The alien creatures watched silently, and for a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Halfway across, a violent tremor shook the platform, the child gasping in fear. Jaren gritted his teeth, pushing on, his mind focused only on her safety. Finally, they reached solid ground. Collapsing in exhaustion but alive, the alien mother's hologram flickered, then vanished, leaving only a silent acknowledgement of his success. Jaren looked at the child, her eyes wide with admiration and trust. He realized that the trials had changed him, hardened him, but also revealed the deepest parts of his humanity: courage, compassion, and ingenuity. Yet even in this moment of triumph, he felt the weight of the alien mother's gaze. Knowing that the challenges were far from over, the chamber shifted again, revealing a corridor leading to the unknown, its walls lined with strange symbols and faint whispers. The child held his hand tightly, and together they stepped forward. Uncertainty ahead, but determination burning within. Jaren understood that survival alone was not enough, that the bond he had formed would define their future. In the distance, faint echoes of alien machinery hinted at larger forces, threats that no single human could face, and the alien mother's presence lingered, her expectations clear. She was not satisfied with mere bravery. She demanded excellence, loyalty, and the willingness to endure any pain for the child. Jaren clenched his fists, ready for whatever came next. The story of humanity's endurance had entered a new phase, and as the corridor stretched endlessly before him, Jaren felt a strange mixture of fear and hope. Fear for what awaited, hope that his choices, his courage, and his humanity could meet the impossible challenges ahead. He looked down at the child, smiling weakly, and whispered, "We will make it. Together." The alien mother watched silently, a secret judgment hanging in the air, the stakes higher than ever. The trials of humanity had begun, not as a test of strength alone, but as a revelation of character, ingenuity, and heart. And Jaren knew that the true price of courage was only beginning to reveal itself. The hidden agenda. Jaren and the child stepped into a vast chamber, the walls alive with shifting lights and alien symbols that seemed almost to breathe. The air hummed with energy, making his skin tingle. He glanced at the child, her small fingers gripping his, sensing her curiosity mixed with fear. Before him, the alien mother stood, regal and unreadable. Her eyes glowed softly. Observing his every move, she motioned to a massive projection hovering in the center of the chamber, displaying star systems, planets, and fleets of alien ships. Jaren realized with a jolt, he was seeing more than a trial. He was witnessing a map of a civilization on the brink of war. The child is not the only one at risk, he thought. Understanding the urgency, his mind raced, trying to piece together the alien mother's intentions. The planets glowed, some flickering as if under attack, and Jaren could feel the weight of countless lives pressing on him. She gestured for him to approach, and he noticed symbols appearing on the floor, forming a path. Each step he took triggered visions, battles, destroyed cities, refugees fleeing under alien suns. The alien mother's voice echoed in his mind, not words he understood, but meanings he felt. He was being shown the consequences of choices, The fragility of life in a galaxy ruled by power and fear. A sudden alarm blared and holographic projections of enemy fleets appeared. Their designs unlike anything human had ever seen. They moved with terrifying speed, targeting colonies and settlements across the galaxy. Jaren realized these were the same forces that had ambushed Karan. The ones who had almost killed the child. He felt a mix of anger, fear, and determination rise within him. "You want me to help?" he whispered to himself, glancing at the alien mother. Her gaze met his, intense and unwavering, as if weighing his answer before he even spoke. The choice was clear. He could fight, risking his life and everything he knew, or he could do nothing and watch entire worlds fall. The stakes had escalated far beyond the child, far beyond personal survival. The chamber shifted suddenly, revealing a smaller room lined with alien artifacts, each one pulsing with strange energy, some weapons, some tools, and some devices he did not understand. Jaren instinctively began examining them, realizing that humanity's ingenuity could adapt these technologies if he learned fast enough. The child watched silently, her trust unwavering, giving him courage he did not know he had. Then the alien mother stepped closer, lowering her mask slightly, and for the first time, Jaren glimpsed her face, strong, intelligent, beautiful, but marked by the weight of responsibility and centuries of expectation. Her eyes seemed to pierce into his very being, demanding honesty, courage, and loyalty. He swallowed hard, realizing that saving the child had been only the beginning of a larger mission. Suddenly a new vision appeared. The child alone on a distant battlefield. The galaxy around her in flames, and Jaren knew he could not abandon her. The alien mother's voice, calm but firm, echoed again, conveying a single truth: to protect the child, he must embrace a destiny he had never imagined, one that would bind him to her world forever. Jaren clenched his fists, determination burning brighter than fear. He had endured pain, trials, and uncertainty, and now the real challenge loomed, not only to save a child, but to stand against forces that threatened countless lives. The alien mother's gaze softened, a hint of respect showing, yet her expectations remained clear. The human had proven himself in courage, but now he would be tested in wisdom, strategy, and heart. The chamber's lights dimmed, leaving only the map of the galaxy glowing. Stars flickering like warnings. Jaren looked at the child, her tiny hand in his, and whispered, "We will face this together." She smiled faintly, her trust absolute. And he realized that the trials had forged a bond stronger than fear, stronger than pain. Outside, distant fleets maneuvered silently, waiting, watching, ready to strike. And Jaren knew that the alien mother's demand was not cruel, but necessary. The price of courage had grown, and humanity's ingenuity would be the key to survival. The child's eyes met his, and he felt a surge of determination unlike anything before. This was no longer a personal struggle. It was a war for life, hope, and the very future of worlds. And as the chamber doors closed behind them, Jaren understood one undeniable truth. The hidden agenda was clear, and his choices from this point forward would define the fate of a child, a civilization, and perhaps the galaxy itself. The sacrificed Jaren stood at the edge of the alien command platform, the child clinging to his side. Her small hand trembled slightly, but her trust was unwavering. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down like gravity itself. Beyond the shields, the enemy fleet hovered, dark and menacing, their weapons glowing with destructive energy. Every second counted, and one mistake could destroy them all. The alien mother approached silently, her expression unreadable. "The mission will cost you," he thought, understanding her words even without translation. Jaren tightened his grip on the child and stepped onto the assault shuttle. The engines humming with power, every bolt of the alien fleet's weapons lit up the sky, sending shockwaves through space. The child held onto him tightly, her eyes wide but trusting, and Jaren vowed silently that he would endure anything to keep her safe. They launched into the battlefield, weaving between massive warships and deadly energy blasts. Jaren's hands worked the controls with precision, instinct guiding him. He felt every tremor, every near miss, yet he pressed on. Each maneuver a testament to human ingenuity, speed, and courage. The child's small voice whispered, "You can do it," and he felt a surge of determination, stronger than fear, stronger than exhaustion. The first enemy cruiser loomed ahead, its cannons ready to fire. Jaren had only seconds to act. He twisted the controls, dodging a volley of energy blasts, then activated a pulse weapon he had improvised from alien technology. The ship shuddered violently, sparks flying from its hull, and for a moment the tide seemed to turn, but more enemies swarmed, relentless, and the risk to both him and the child grew with every second. An explosion rocked the shuttle. Throwing them sideways, Jaren gritted his teeth, feeling pain shoot through his body, but he refused to falter. Every instinct screamed to protect the child, and he focused entirely on keeping her alive. The enemy fleet pressed closer, each ship faster, smarter than anything he had faced before. Yet his mind worked like a machine, adapting, predicting, improvising. Humanity's ingenuity proving itself in the face of impossible odds. Then came the final challenge, the enemy flagship, massive and heavily armored, blocking their path. Jaren knew the only way to save the child and the alien worlds was to strike at the heart of the enemy. He guided the shuttle toward the flagship, weaving through its defenses, dodging beams of destructive energy, the engines screaming. The child's small hands found his shoulder, giving him courage, reminding him why he endured all this pain. With a deep breath, Jaren activated the shuttle's weapon array, targeting the flagship's core. The explosion rocked the entire fleet, shaking space itself. Fire and energy cascaded around them, and for a terrifying moment Jaren thought they might not survive. But the flagship faltered, its systems failing, and the enemy fleet began to retreat, defeated. Humiliated by the courage and ingenuity of a single human, Jaren collapsed on the shuttle floor, the child in his arms, his body screaming from every wound. Yet he smiled weakly. Victory mingled with exhaustion. The alien mother appeared beside him, her eyes glowing with a mix of respect and something deeper, admiration, perhaps even gratitude. She did not speak, but her gaze conveyed everything, acknowledging the sacrifice he had made, the bravery he had shown, and the unbreakable bond he had formed with the child. As the smoke cleared and the enemy fleets vanished into the darkness of space, Jaren realized something profound. The trials, the pain, the risk, and all of it had been worth it. The child was safe, the alien worlds were saved, and humanity had proven itself once again, capable of courage, ingenuity, and sacrifice beyond measure. But even in victory, he knew the journey was not over. The alien mother's gaze lingered, a reminder that his choices had tied him to this world forever, that the price of courage was never truly finished. And as he held the child close, feeling her heartbeat against his chest, Jaren understood the truth. To protect, to endure, and to sacrifice was the essence of humanity, a force that no galaxy could ignore. Acceptance and respect. Jaren stood on the balcony of the alien citadel, the twin suns casting long shadows across the crystalline towers. The child clung to his side, her small eyes wide as she watched ships glide through the sky, each vessel moving with purpose and precision, a display of a civilization both beautiful and deadly. The alien mother approached silently, her robes flowing like liquid light. Her eyes met his, and for the first time, there was no challenge in her gaze, only recognition, respect, and something deeper. Jaren understood immediately. He had passed every test, survived every trial, and now his courage, ingenuity, and humanity were honored. "You have proven yourself," he imagined her voice saying, even though he could not fully understand the alien language. The child smiled faintly, sensing the change in the mother's tone. The shift from observer to ally. Jaren felt a strange warmth, pride mixed with relief, that he had earned this trust, not just for himself, but for humanity. He was led into the central hall where alien dignitaries and scholars awaited. Their eyes glowed with curiosity, awe, and cautious respect. The story of a human who endured, fought, and sacrificed had traveled faster than he could imagine. And now he stood as a symbol of what humanity could achieve even among the stars. Even in a civilization so alien, humanity mattered. The child ran ahead, laughing softly, her small hands reaching for the alien artifacts and machines. Exploring without fear, Jaren followed, smiling, realizing that this world, once terrifying, had become a place of hope, of connection, and of possibility. The alien mother watched them, her eyes softening, a gesture of acceptance and perhaps even gratitude. Yet even in this moment of peace, Jaren sensed the larger responsibilities that lay ahead. The galaxy was vast and threats remained beyond the horizon. His actions had saved a child and a civilization, but survival was only the beginning. The alien mother's unspoken message lingered. Courage alone was not enough. Wisdom, loyalty, and vigilance were required to protect what mattered. He knelt beside the child, brushing her hair back, and whispered, "We did it. Together." She hugged him tightly, her trust absolute, and Jaren felt the true weight of the bond they had forged. A bond that transcended species, worlds, and the chaos of war. A bond rooted in sacrifice and humanity's enduring spirit. Outside the hall, scouts reported distant signals, strange movements in the galaxy, subtle warnings of new dangers. Jaren understood that this was only a temporary peace, that the alien mother's respect was a promise, a call to action, and a challenge to uphold the values that had brought him this far. As night fell over the alien citadel, the twin suns disappearing behind distant planets, Jaren stood with the child in his arms, feeling the pulse of life and the heartbeat of worlds connected. He had endured pain, faced impossible odds, and proven that humanity could rise above fear, cruelty, and indifference, and now, in the eyes of the alien mother, he was recognized as more than a human. He was a protector, a hero, and a symbol of hope. And even as the stars shimmered in the alien sky, Jaren knew the final choice was yet to come. The child's safety and the galaxy's future would demand a decision that would test everything he had endured, everything he had learned, and everything he believed about humanity. But for now, he allowed himself a moment of peace, knowing that respect had been earned, trust had been forged, and the journey toward the final trial was only just beginning. Forever changed, Jaren stood on the edge of the alien world's highest cliff, the twin suns casting long golden shadows over mountains that seemed to touch the stars. The child clung to his side, her small fingers entwined with his. Silent but full of trust, he gazed at the horizon, where distant fleets moved like dark clouds, reminding him that danger was never far. The alien mother appeared behind him, her robes shimmering in the sunlight. Her eyes held a mixture of admiration, expectation, and an unspoken demand. Jaren understood clearly now. His trials were complete, but the final choice lay before him. He could return to Earth, the world he knew, or remain in this alien civilization, bound to protect the child and secure a future that stretched across the galaxy. The child looked up at him, her eyes full of innocence and hope. "Stay with me," she seemed to say without words, and Jaren felt a tug at his heart, stronger than fear, stronger than duty. He realized that every bruise, every pain, every sacrifice had led to this moment, that humanity's courage had brought him to a place where choice was not about survival, but about love, loyalty, and honor. He glanced at the alien mother, her gaze steady, waiting for his decision. The weight of countless lives, alien worlds, and the child's future pressed on him. Yet in that pressure, Jaren found clarity. Humanity was not defined by weakness or fear, but by the willingness to endure, to protect, and to sacrifice for others, and he would not turn away from that truth. With a deep breath, he stepped forward, taking the child into his arms, and turned to face the alien mother. "I will stay," he whispered, voice steady despite the pain in his body. For her, and for all who cannot defend themselves. The alien mother's eyes glowed brighter, as if accepting a pledge that went beyond words, a promise sealed by courage and humanity. The ground trembled lightly beneath them, a signal of alien ships mobilizing, and Jaren knew that the coming days would demand even more. The fleets would face threats, diplomacy would challenge understanding, and danger would never fully disappear. But he also knew that humanity's strength, courage, ingenuity, and compassion had earned a place among the stars, a force that could not be ignored. The child hugged him tightly, resting her head on his shoulder, and Jaren felt a peace he had never known. He had endured unimaginable pain, faced impossible trials, and now in this alien world, he had forged bonds that could not be broken. The alien mother stepped forward, placing a hand on his shoulder, her gesture both protective and respectful, a recognition of a human who had transcended fear and proved the worth of his species. As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting the world in twilight, Jaren looked out across alien cities, fleets, and mountains, realizing he was forever changed. Humanity had survived, thrived, and earned respect in a galaxy full of dangers. The trials, sacrifices, and choices had forged not only a protector, but a symbol, that even in the darkest corners of the universe, humanity's courage shone brightly, and in the quiet moment before night fully fell, Jaren whispered to the child, "No matter what comes, we will face it together." Her small hand squeezed his, and he felt the bond, unbreakable and eternal. The alien mother watched, Her gaze filled with acknowledgement, and for the first time, Jaren knew that his journey had reached its pinnacle. A human had endured, a child had been saved, and a galaxy had witnessed the strength of humanity, forever changed yet unwavering. Jaren stepped forward into the night, the child safe in his arms, and the stars themselves seemed to recognize the heroism, courage, and unyielding heart of a single human.